Welcome back, everyone, to Mizzou Hockey TV. My name is Luca Vitale, and joining me today is former defenseman Colin Jones. Colin, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. So as a 2022 graduate yourself, so you've been almost in the real world now for about 2 years, sort of just talk to the fans. Who are you exactly and what you've been up to these days?
Yeah, my name is Colin Jones, like you said. Currently, I'm coaching a junior team here in Jacksonville, Florida called the Bold City Batallion. We play out of the USPHL, and it's my first year coaching, and it's been a really great experience.
I'm glad you mentioned that you are the assistant coach of the Bold City Batallion. And for those that do not know that, that is part of the United States Premier Hockey League, which is a junior hockey league. And yeah, Colin, you talked to me that it is actually going to consist of some Canadian teams next year, correct?
Yeah, they're adding like a 6-team Canadian division. So we'll see how that goes.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So sort of just talking about your first season, what got you to pursue coaching after graduating college?
I mean, I've been playing hockey since I was 4 years old, so it was a pretty easy choice to get back into the game once I got done playing at Mizzou, and this was the best opportunity that presented itself because I moved to Jacksonville with my girlfriend. She works at the Mayo Clinic here, so she does that, and I coach hockey. That's kind of how we do it.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So as a former player yourself, sort of how do you adapt your playing experience to coaching?
I think the biggest thing is just kind of trying to be the coach that you never really got, like the person that you can be for other people. Like some of the coaches you get throughout your life, they're not the best people maybe, or they're not the nicest. And the opportunity to kind of be that for somebody else is the thing that I enjoy the most for sure.
So obviously some coaches have like their own sort of philosophy. Meanwhile, other coaches sort of try to emulate other coaches' philosophy during their time growing up. Can you sort of describe your coaching philosophy and sort of the values you try to aim to instill in your players?
I think the biggest thing is just be yourself. That's where creativity comes from on the ice, is just being an individual and being yourself within a team structure. Like there's a lot that goes into understanding how to be part of a team. But if you're not able to be yourself and be an individual, you can't contribute to like the collective that goes on within a hockey team. And I think that the easiest thing to get away from is being yourself. And that's where I think a lot of people struggle, is they try to be somebody else and you're not somebody else.
So it's your first season, obviously, coaching a team like this. What would you say the biggest sort of challenge you've sort of faced so far?
Ooh. I think just dealing with not being a player anymore, to tell you the truth. It's hard to stand behind the bench. It's not easy to not be able to jump on the ice and be part of it. And it's just trying to manage that while also I'm closer in age with some of our players. So managing that is one of my priorities, is not to let them get on top of me as being 20-year-olds and I'm 27. So it's not like we're too far apart. But there is still that, like, you're a 20-year-old, but yeah, that's really the most challenging thing that I would say. Our group's really easy to work with, so it's not too much.
That's good.
Yeah.
So before we sort of discuss this Border War Showdown this week between Mizzou and Kansas, I sort of want to discuss the ACHA D3 National Tournament format, because I got a couple of questions on social media within this past week about the pool assignments and the format and all that good stuff. So I just wanted to sort of dive into that really quick. So first things first, for those that do not know, Mizzou clinched the number 4 seed in the tournament, and they will have home ice advantage in its pool. So it's going to compete in Pool D, which consists of Air Force, Central Maine Community College, and Michigan State. So within those 4 teams, whoever earns the best record within that pool will advance to the next round. So Mizzou also did not play any of those teams during the regular season. However, they did play Air Force last year in this exact same tournament, sort of a little link there. So Colin, as a former player and current coach yourself, does sort of the team preparation, does it sort of change for the national tournament compared to regular season games?
So this is where coaching has shown me a lot. Basically, the way that it kind of works, and it works even at the pro level this way, is they taper toward the end. Like you start with this very broad vision of how it's supposed to go, and then it sort of becomes this very narrow thing where the games get narrower and narrower. It becomes harder and harder to win as you move on. And your goal is to do everything you can to kind of fit through that window where you get to play tomorrow. And eventually, if you win enough games, you stand as the champion. And that's kind of what I've seen from the coaching aspect is you just have to understand that it's a day-by-day process and you can't get ahead of yourself. Like really living in the moment is the most important thing. And then on top of that, it's just being, like I said, being who you are and just sticking to your identity as a team and as an individual.
Yeah. And for Mizzou fans out there that desire to go to the national tournament games, there's a link in the description of this video, or you're in our website if you're interested in attending the games at Centene Community Ice Center in St. Louis. So definitely great for the Mizzou fans and that sort of side of the, side rather of the state. So Colin, during the latter part of your Mizzou tenure, the Tigers sort of were just beginning to sort of climb that ladder, sort of become those D3 contenders that they are today. Yep. What does it mean for Mizzou to be competing in this national tournament for the second year in a row?
For me, it's just really cool. Like, it's just getting to see the last guys that I played with get to go do this. It's a really special thing because I know where we started, and it's just kind of been a wild ride getting to see everything that's happened. And having people like Holden, having people like Spolik, having people like Hazelton and them, it's come a long way. And like, especially like my best friends in the world are like the Castons and Holden, and seeing where it's come, like having it handed off to them and then handed off to Spolik, and then next year it'll be handed off to somebody else. It's just cool to see that kind of lineage happen with everything.
You talked about where it's been before, sort of the beginning of your career. So can you sort of just talk about that transformation just a little bit?
The transformation really was just getting people interested. Like that was the biggest thing, was how do we, because we started with 13 guys. It was me and Holden joined at semester my first year, and it was just, there wasn't enough people that, to tell you the truth, like there was a lot of people who liked the game of hockey there, but there wasn't enough people who cared, enough people that put the time and effort in to make it happen. And I know that Mizzou Hockey had some success in the past, but hopefully that it doesn't fall off again the way that it did. That would kind of be the most disappointing thing that I could imagine for this program. But seeing whose hands it's in, I'm not worried anymore.
That's good. That's good. So a lot of new players on the squad this year. They added a couple new players towards the second semester, and Ethan DeGroat and Mason Buddy. You got Andrew Knapp and Aaron Hemmer, also brand new players, freshmen that began at the start of the season. So while most of them sort of, if not all of them, have competed in the junior hockey league sort of tournaments, those big stake tournaments, I feel like the national tournament is sort of a different beast here. How do you sort of maintain your focus and your composure during a high pressure game as a rookie?
It's just take it one day at a time. That's definitely the biggest thing. Living in the moment is the hardest thing that even our younger guys on our junior team, they struggle with. It's like they want to be somewhere like in the top of the lineup, and they want to be somewhere that maybe they're not. And the biggest thing is to just play where you are, because you can't be anywhere else. Like there's no way, if you're not one of those guys immediately, that's your job as a freshman. That's your job as a rookie. Like you're supposed to come in and contribute at any level you can. And then as you grow through the process of becoming a veteran, that's when you get to contribute more. And that's like, even for guys like Spolik, like it's like still take it day by day. Like you're into your last few games, and it's really about understanding and living in the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And especially for Nick Spolik, someone that this is his last season. So obviously just enjoying those sort of last moments. And speaking of those last moments, Kansas will be the sort of one of those last moments for him to enjoy, as this will be the last time in his career that Mizzou will take on Kansas. So let's sort of like retransition to that Mizzou and Kansas rivalry game this week. So this was obviously the only scheduled game between these two this season. However, Colin, as you saw in the streams, sort of got a preview of that during the MACHA Championship game, where Mizzou won a high-scoring affair 12-7. And what did you see during that game, honestly? Because it was a high-scoring affair for sure.
The biggest thing that I noticed is Mizzou is a lot faster than KU. That's the biggest thing. If Mizzou can find a way to not get dragged into Kansas's antics when it comes to trying to start stuff, that is a big thing for Mizzou, is staying out of the penalty box, I notice. Another thing is that the D seem to have good speed coming up the ice, and there's a lot of good transition play that happens, which that is very advantageous when you're faster than the other team, because that means you can get the puck up the ice and move the way you want to move throughout the game. In terms of the forwards, I really saw a lot of crashing the net. I saw a lot of good shots. One thing I would like to probably see a little more of is the discipline. That's the biggest thing, is you got to be, to make a long run, you've got to stay disciplined. There can't be suspensions. There can't be multiple penalties within games that are going to cost you potentially down the road. So just doing those little things that really allow you to have a chance to win the championship and to beat teams like KU, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely talked about crashing the net, 65 shots in that MACHA Championship game against Kansas, which is definitely something to sort of highlight in that sort of thing. So last year, Mizzou absolutely crushed Kansas 15-2 in the Border War. I mean, that's quite a few goals you got there. But Colin, did you sort of have a favorite moment going up against KU?
It was probably my last game in Jefferson City. We beat KU. I don't even remember. I think it was by 2 goals. It was that was getting over the hump. That was us finally getting over the hump of, we're a legitimate program and we can finally win games. And the following year was the MACHA Championship run. And I think just showing people what the Jeff could have been, like showing people what our program really could have been, that was the game where we got to really show people that.
I mean, it wasn't the 15-2 that we saw last year, but hey, you still got over the hump, so that's a good thing, right?
Yep.
So what was it like? What's it like sort of going up against a team that not only you just want to beat, but you just also despise?
You're ready. You're always ready. And that's the thing about the KU games. It's like you start thinking about them and then you get really excited for them and then they're there. And once you're ready to go, the skates start going and you're ready to go. And that's just the way it is.
So you're a coach, so you obviously have more insight on this game than most people do. So what would you say your advice is for the team as they head off to nationals next week?
Play hard. Just really enjoy playing hard. It is the biggest thing. It's effort, always, always, always. Skill, like they say, you can be the most skilled person in the world, but if you don't give effort, you're not going to win. And that's the biggest thing, is it's who's going to outcompete the other team. And that's what our junior team aims to do down the road too, as well, is just how hard can we compete to win this thing. And that's what I think Mizzou needs to do. Any championship team, that's the message. Just, you've got to be able to compete on a day-to-day basis.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Mizzou Hockey TV. Be sure to visit our website, follow us on social media. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel. My name is Luca Vitale. Joining me, Colin Jones. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.